My name is Lukhanyo Mdingi. Welcome to the Provenance. And the Provenance to me is a continuous pursuit of origins. It was important for us to have the Provenance Part II exhibited in Constitutional Hall just based on its rich history. I feel as though it felt quite nuanced to the research project of what the exhibition is essentially all about. So having an institution to house an exhibition such as this, specifically because of the nature, felt like the right thing to do. Just thinking about the name provenance, it means origins within itself. And research is something that's so important within the practice of design, and that's something that we've really integrated within the Lukhanyo Mdingi brand. But for us, we really wanted to expand it within a way where people are able to see the research within itself, to gain more context as to why things are essentially the way that they are. So by having the name provenance and also just really looking into what it means and our approach to research and archiving, it felt like it made sense to title the exhibition that, but to also just highlight that overarching theme of Genesis. How does Provenance Part II relay into the themes of Part I? The themes, the practice in itself is archiving and representing archives in the best possible way. So I really believe that it's quite nuanced within one another. Part I predominantly focused on archiving within the context of the Lukhanyo Mdingi brand. So really looking at our own research, our ways of developing textiles, mock-ups, clothing, visuals, photography. But I really wanted to take it a step further with Provenance Part II by essentially looking at Bantu heritage within the context of South Africa. So the spirit of researching is definitely something that's nuanced between both Provenance Part I and Part II, but essentially the approach of the subject matters are different. The three themes of Provenance Part II pretty much focuses on textiles, literature, and as well as music. It all pretty much came about from our own personal quest and curiosity of trying to understand where these themes come from within the context of South Africa and South African history. And what unfolded from that was something that was quite powerful, because I realized that there was quite a strong, robust history that necessarily wasn't told or really engaged with enough, and I really wanted to bring that in within the context of an exhibition space so people can really understand essentially where do these themes come from within the context of South Africa. So focusing on textiles and looking at the missionary works from the Anglican Church coming into South Africa during the 1800s and how that has informed how black mothers and women are essentially using that craft and how it's integrated into today's culture and how it's become part of their livelihoods, and really engaging with that and seeing how that essentially looks like. And then also thinking about the literature side of things as well, and seeing how Bantu languages within the context of Xhosa and the literature aspect of it, and how poetry and scripture and writing, how is that pressed, how does that look like, and understanding that we have an incredible national treasure such as Lovedale Press that is essentially turning 200 years, has an immeasurable amount of history, and how do people engage with it, who are the alumni of the institution as well. So we really wanted to look at all the aspects of Lovedale within the context of literature, and also just thinking about the notable alumni that leaned onto the Lovedale Missionary School, and as well as the published work that actually came from Lovedale within itself was really insightful. It was Gavin Becky, it was Z.K. Matthews. Our national anthem was printed by Lovedale Press. And then that also goes into the music side of things, thinking about the incredible gospel group of Amadodana Esowesile. They are so formidable within what they do and what they've created. And I too also believe that they are a national treasure within the context of South Africa. There's a very specific hymn that they had created, titled Siyakudumise Thixo. And I think that hymn that was originally for the Methodist Church was so powerful within black homes within the context of South Africa that it was integrated in different disciplines of different churches, and it wasn't necessarily pertained to just the Methodist Church anymore. It just goes to show how powerful a beautiful song of praise and worship is, and how that is integrated into many different homes. So yeah, I think just really highlighting the history of these specific themes is something that made sense, and it's something that I really wanted to bring to the table. In what way do I see the Provenance Part II adding onto the conversation of the broader picture and conversation of South African landscape? Inspiration and context. I think in order for us to move forward, we have to really understand where we come from. And I really hope that this body of work that we've been able to create with our collaborators is something that people can actually take away and just ask a question of like, where do we come from within the context of literature or music or textiles or anything within our own personal backgrounds, and to see and interrogate and have those discourses with yourself or with your own respective community. I think it's important to highlight the history because it really does allow us just the opportunity to make decisions of how we want to move forward with our own personal futures.